Single mom got fired for helping a stranger. Unaware he was the billionaire boss in disguise, the first snowflakes of November were beginning to fall as Maya Rodriguez locked the supply closet on the 3rd floor of Hastings Tower. Her shift at the corporate office building was nearly over, and she was looking forward to picking up her daughter Lily from after-school care. At 7 years old, Lily was Maya's entire world, the reason she worked double shifts and never complained about the aching in her feet after hours of mopping floors and emptying trash bins. Just the lobby left, Maya muttered to herself, pulling her cleaning cart toward the elevator. The building was mostly empty now, the corporate workers having fled at 5 o'clock sharp. Only the stragglers remained, ambitious junior executives trying to impress, and people like Maya, whose work began when everyone else's day ended. As the elevator doors opened on the ground floor, Maya heard something unusual, a groan, followed by a thud. She pushed her cart out quickly and looked around the gleaming marble lobby. There, slumped against the wall near the revolving doors, was a man in tattered clothes. His jacket was worn thin, his jeans dirty and torn at the knees. Snow was beginning to accumulate on his shoulders. Maya's supervisor, Derek, emerged from the security office, his face twisted in disgust. "Great, another one," he said. "Maya, call the cops. We need to get this bum out of here before the morning crew arrives." The man looked up, and Maya saw his face clearly for the first time. Despite the grime and exhaustion, his eyes were striking, intelligent and kind, with deep lines at the corners that suggested he smiled often, or used to. Right now, those eyes were filled with pain. "Please," the man said, his voice hoarse. "I just need to rest for a minute. It's cold out there." "Not my problem," Derek said, pulling out his phone. "This is private property." Maya looked at the man again. She saw something in his expression that reminded her of her own father, years ago, when he'd lost his job and their family had nearly lost everything. That same mixture of pride and desperation, the look of someone trying to hold on to their dignity while the world crumbled around them. "Wait," Maya said, stepping forward. She knelt beside the man. "Are you hurt?" "Maya, what are you doing?" Derek snapped. "Get away from him." The man was shivering violently now. Up close, Maya could see his lips had a blue tinge. Hypothermia, she thought. She'd learned about it when Lily's school had sent home a winter safety pamphlet. "He needs help," Maya said. "Look at him, Derek. He's freezing. Not our job to play social worker," Derek replied. "The company has a strict policy. No loiterers, no homeless people in the building. You know this. Now step back and let me handle it." Maya made a decision in that moment, one that would change everything. She stood up and faced her supervisor. "Give me 5 minutes. Let me get him warm, give him some coffee from the break room. Then I'll help him on his way." Derek's eyes narrowed. "You're seriously defying a direct order right now? I'm asking for 5 minutes of human decency." "Human decency doesn't pay the bills or keep this building secure," Derek said. He turned to the security guard who had just appeared. "Mike, escort this man out. And Maya, consider this your official warning. One more stunt like this and you're done." But Maya was already moving. She went to the supply closet near the lobby and pulled out the spare jacket she kept there for cold nights, along with a blanket from the emergency kit. She brought them to the man and draped the blanket over his shoulders. "Here," she said softly. "This will help." The man looked at her with such genuine gratitude that Maya felt her eyes sting with tears. "Thank you," he whispered. "You have no idea what this means." "Maya," Derek's voice was sharp now, angry. "Stop, right now. That's company. Property you're giving away." "It's my jacket," Maya said, helping the man to his feet. "And the blanket is from the emergency kit, which is meant for emergencies. This qualifies." She could see Derek's face turning red. "Fine. You want to be a hero? Then you can find somewhere else to do it. You're fired, effective immediately." The words hit Maya like a physical blow. Fired. She thought of Lily, of the rent due next week, of the precarious balance she'd been maintaining between survival and disaster. But when she looked at the man beside her, still shivering but no longer dying, she couldn't regret her choice. "Come on," she said to the stranger. "I'll walk you to the shelter on 5th Street. They should still have beds available." As they walked out into the snowy night, the man spoke. "You just lost your job because of me. I lost my job because my supervisor is a jerk who forgot what it means to be human," Maya corrected him. "Not your fault." "What's your name?" he asked. "Maya Rodriguez. And you?" The man hesitated for just a moment. "Call me James." They walked through the falling snow, Maya's mind racing with worry about how she'd pay for everything, how she'd explain to Lily why Mommy was home during work hours now. But she pushed those thoughts aside and focused on getting James to safety. At the shelter, Maya made sure James got checked in and that the staff knew he might need medical attention. As she turned to leave, James caught her hand. "Maya Rodriguez," he said, and there was something odd in his tone, something she couldn't quite place. "I won't forget this, I promise you that. Just get warm and take care of yourself," Maya said with a tired smile. "That's all the thanks I need." The next 3 days were a nightmare. Maya applied for every job she could find, but with no references from her last position and a gap in her employment that she couldn't explain without admitting she'd been fired. Doors kept closing in her face. She had enough. Savings for maybe 2 weeks of rent and food. After that, she and Lily might be the ones seeking shelter. On the 4th day, Maya received a call from an unknown number. A professional woman's voice asked if she could come to Hastings Tower for a meeting at 10 o'clock the following morning. Maya's stomach dropped. Was Derek pressing charges for theft of company property? But she agreed to come, if only to face whatever was coming head on. The next morning, Maya dressed in her only good outfit, a simple black dress and blazer she kept for parent-teacher conferences. She arrived at Hastings Tower with her heart pounding, expecting to be met by security or lawyers. Instead, a polished executive assistant greeted her in the lobby. "Miss Rodriguez, please follow me." They took the elevator not to the 3rd floor where she'd worked, but all the way to the top floor, the executive level where Maya had never been allowed. The assistant led her through a maze of expensive offices to a massive corner suite. The nameplate on the door read, "James Hastings III, CEO." Maya's confusion deepened as the assistant opened the door and gestured for her to enter. The office was enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, and there, standing by the window in an impeccable suit, was James, her James, the homeless man from the lobby. Except he wasn't homeless at all. "Miss Rodriguez," he said, turning to face her with a gentle smile. "Thank you for coming. Maya's legs felt weak. I don't understand." James gestured to a chair, and Maya sat because she wasn't sure she could keep standing. He took the chair across from her, not the imposing desk chair, keeping the conversation intimate and equal. "My name is James Hastings," he began. "I'm the CEO of Hastings Corporation, which owns this building and about 40 others across the country. 4 days ago, I was conducting what I call a reality check. I do it once a year. I disguise myself, put myself in vulnerable positions, to see how my employees treat people they think are powerless. It keeps me grounded and helps me understand what kind of culture exists in my companies." Maya's mind was reeling. "You were testing us." "Not exactly testing," James said carefully. "I was observing. Most years I encounter indifference, some years outright cruelty. But very rarely do I encounter what you showed me, genuine compassion, even at great personal cost." "You let me get fired," Maya said, and she heard the anger in her own voice. "You stood there and let Derek fire me, and you could have stopped it with a single word." James's expression became pained. "You're absolutely right, and I'm sorrier for that than you can imagine. But I needed to see it play out. I needed to know what your supervisor would do when challenged on a policy, and I needed to see if you would stick to your principles even when it cost you everything." "This isn't a game," Maya said, her voice shaking. "I have a daughter. I have rent. I know," James interrupted gently. "I know about Lily. I know about your late husband, about the debt from his medical bills, about the way you've been barely holding things together while working 2 jobs. I've spent the last 3 days learning everything I can about you, Maya Rodriguez, because I needed to be sure." "Sure of what?" James leaned forward. "I'm restructuring the leadership of this company. Derek has been terminated, not just for firing you, but for a pattern of behavior that investigation has revealed. Mistreatment of staff, policy violations, and a complete lack of the empathy that should be at the core of how we treat people. I'm creating a new position, Vice President of Corporate Culture and Employee Advocacy. The job is to make sure that every person in every Hastings building is treated with dignity and respect, regardless of their position. It pays $200,000 a year, plus benefits and profit sharing." Maya stared at him, unable to process what she was hearing. "I want you for that job," James continued. "Someone who understands what it's like to work the hardest jobs in the building. Someone who will stand up for what's right even when it costs them. Someone who sees people, really sees them, the way you saw me that night." "I'm a cleaner," Maya whispered. I didn't even finish college. I'm not qualified for—" "You're the most qualified person I've ever met," James said firmly. "You have something that can't be taught. Genuine compassion and moral courage. Everything else we can train. But I can't train someone to care the way you do." Maya felt tears streaming down her face. "Why? Why would you do this? Because 4 days ago you treated a stranger like he mattered when you thought he was nobody," James said, and his own eyes were bright with emotion. "You gave away your coat on a cold night to someone you thought you'd never see again. You sacrificed your livelihood for a principle. That's not just rare, Maya. That's the kind of person I want shaping the culture of this entire company." There was a long silence. Maya wiped her eyes, trying to compose herself. "What about Lily, the job? Could I have time to pick her up from school?" James smiled. "This company's going to start a new policy. Flexible hours for working parents. You'll set your own schedule, as long as the work gets done. And there's an on-site childcare facility we're opening next month. Lily would be welcome there, fully covered by company benefits." Maya thought about the last few years of struggle, of choosing between groceries and medicine, of the constant fear that one more setback would destroy everything she'd built for her daughter. And now this man, this billionaire who'd tested her without her knowing, was offering her a way out. "Not just a way out, a way up. There's something you should know," Maya said finally. "I didn't help you because I thought I'd get something out of it. I helped you because it was the right thing to do." "I know," James said softly. "That's exactly why you're the only person I trust with this responsibility." Maya took a deep breath. She thought of Lily, of the life they could have, of the chance to make sure other people didn't have to make the impossible choices she'd been making. "Then yes, I accept." James stood and extended his hand. When Maya shook it, his grip was firm and warm. "Welcome to the executive team, Ms. Rodriguez. Something tells me this company is about to change for the better." As Maya left the office that day, she passed the same marble lobby where she'd met James 4 nights earlier. She thought about the strange path that had led her here, how a single act of kindness, done without expectation of reward, had transformed not just her life, but her daughter's future. That evening, when Maya picked up Lily from school and told her they were going out for a special dinner to celebrate Mommy's new job, Lily asked the question that had been on Maya's mind all day. "Did something good happen, Mommy?" Maya knelt down and hugged her daughter tight, breathing in the scent of her shampoo and thinking about all the good things that were finally coming their way. "Something very good," she said. "Something very good indeed." And as snow continued to fall on the city outside, Maya Rodriguez understood that sometimes the universe does reward kindness, though never in the ways we expect. She'd given a stranger her coat on a cold night, and in return she'd been given something far more valuable, a chance to build the kind of life she'd always dreamed of, and the opportunity to make sure others received the same compassion she'd shown when it mattered most.